Let's make my yacht window quilt pattern using fat quarters. For a jumbo throw size quilt, you will need 16 fat quarters, which will yield you a 64-inch by 64-inch quilt. If you are using 20 fat quarters, you will yield a large twin size quilt measuring 64 inches by 80 inches, just to give you a few more options. But go ahead and iron out your fat quarters so we can get to cutting. And once your fat quarters are ironed, you will subcut one 12.5-inch square, four 2.5-inch by 12.5-inch rectangles, and lastly, four 2.5-inch squares per each fat quarter. And that's it. This pattern is perfect for larger print fabrics or fabrics that you don't want to cut into tiny pieces. But either way, you'll just repeat this step to every single fat quarter. Now that everything is cut, it is time to build our blocks. For each block, you will need 3 different prints. One print in a 12.5-inch square. For your second print, you will need 4 2.5-inch by 12.5-inch rectangles. And for your last print, 4 2.5-inch squares. Then you'll place your blocks like so, and now it's time to sew everything back together again. So first up, you'll sew your blocks together into rows, and then lastly, your rows into your final quilt block, which will measure as a 16.5-inch square. Then all you'll have to do is repeat this step until you have made a total of 16 quilt blocks for the jumbo throw or 20 quilt blocks for the large twin size quilt. Now that all your blocks are finished, it is time to lay your quilt out. So all you'll have to do is lay your blocks side by side in a 4x4 layout for the throw or a 4x5 layout for the twin. Now, since these blocks are large, stay to the end as I will have some photos from far away. But as always, you'll just sew your blocks together to form rows, and then lastly, sew your rows together to complete your quilt top. And here is what my quilt top looks like all finished. This pattern is super easy and quick to make for those last minute gifts. And as for the backing, I am using a print within the same collection. Then for the thread choice, I am going with glide threads in the color Bone, which is a silvery white color. And here is what my yacht window quilt looks like all quilted. Here is a close-up of the quilting and the back of the quilt. The edge-to-edge pattern is my personal we have our own heading pattern, which is perfect for bed-size quilts since it is at a large scale. But here are some photos to get a better look at the entire quilt. Jumbo quilt blocks are perfect for bed-size quilt because they do come together so quickly. But if you could please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be notified for your next amazing quilt project.